Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're going deep on a topic that's been everywhere lately. AI, machine learning, and deep learning. You hear those all the time, but what do they even mean? And how are they different? We've got a ton of research papers and studies here, so think of this deep dive as your, cheat sheet to understanding AI, ML, and DL.
Yeah, it's true. Those terms get tossed around a lot, and it
Yeah.
can be confusing. Even people in tech sometimes, mix them up.
Right, everyone just assumes we're all on the same page, but
Mhm.
it feels like we need a secret decoder ring just to follow along.
Mm.
So let's just start with the basics. What exactly IS artificial intelligence? Like AI, when people say that.
Okay, so at its heart, AI is like this big field of study trying to create, intelligent agents.
Intelligent agent.
Yeah, basically systems that can reason, learn, and act on their own. The goal is to get computers to do the things that normally take human intelligence, problem-solving decisions, that kind of stuff.
So we're talking about machines that can think like us.
Sort of, yeah. But it's not about copying the human brain exactly. It's more about creating systems that can handle tasks that usually need, well, us.
Okay, so playing chess or recognizing faces or even driving, those kinds of things.
You got it. And a major way to get those capabilities is through machine learning.
All right, so let's talk machine learning. How does that fit in here with AI?
So machine learning, ML, is a part of AI that's all about giving computers the ability to learn from data. But not like step-by-step programming, It's more like we feed it mountains of data and let it find the patterns and the rules itself.
So instead of programming it directly, we're letting the computer learn from experience, kind of like how a student crams for an exam.
Perfect analogy. In machine learning, we give the computer the textbook and the practice tests, and it figures out how to ace the real deal.
I get it. But how does the computer actually learn from this data?
Lots of methods, but they all boil down to spotting patterns and connections in the data. A common one is supervised learning.
Supervised learning.
Yeah, in this one, the computer gets labeled data. So imagine a bunch of pictures labeled cat or dog. The algorithm learns from these examples, and then it can spot cats and dogs in brand new pictures on its own.
So we're showing it flashcards of cats and dogs.
Yeah.
And saying this one's a cat, this one's a dog, and eventually it just gets it.
Exactly. And then there's unsupervised learning, where it gets unlabeled data, and it has to find the patterns and structures all by itself. Imagine giving it a giant Lego set, no instructions, just letting it figure out what it can build.
So it's playing detective, finding hidden connections.
You got it. And then we've got reinforcement learning, where the computer learns by trial and error, getting rewards for doing things right, penalties for messing up. Think of it like training a dog. You give a treat for good behavior, and it learns to repeat those actions.
Gotcha. So there's supervised with labels, unsupervised without, and reinforcement with rewards and penalties. It's starting to feel like we're building a little AI family tree here.
I like that. And branching off the machine learning part of that tree is deep learning.
Okay, let's go deeper then. What makes deep learning different from regular machine learning?
So deep learning, or DL, it's a specialized part of machine learning. It uses these things called artificial neural networks, ANNs, to analyze and learn from data.
Neural networks. That sounds complicated.
They can be, but the idea is actually pretty intuitive. Artificial neural networks are based on how the human brain is structured and how it works. They're made up of these layers of connected nodes, kind of like neurons that process information.
So it's like we're building a mini brain inside a computer.
You could put it that way. And in deep learning, that just means these networks have lots of layers. The more layers, the deeper the network, and the more complex the things it can learn.
Okay, so more layers, more learning power. Got it. But what are these layers actually doing with the data?
Think of each layer as a filter, picking out different features from the data. First layer might see simple stuff like edges or colors in a picture. Next layer, it combines those into shapes and so on, until the network can recognize really specific patterns.
So each layer builds on the one before it, extracting more and more meaning.
Exactly. And the amazing thing about deep learning is that these networks can learn what features matter without us telling them.
Hold on, the computer figures out what's important on its own. That's pretty impressive.
It is. And that's what makes deep learning so powerful for things like image recognition, natural language processing, even playing those super complex games like Go.
Okay, my brain is officially overloaded with all these neural networks.
Yeah.
Let's back up for a second. Why does all this matter? What are some real-world uses for deep learning?
Oh man, deep learning is already doing big things in tons of industries. One that's really exciting is medical imaging.
Medical imaging.
Yeah, picture this. You've got a deep learning algorithm that's been trained on thousands of X-rays and MRIs.
Okay.
It can learn to spot these tiny patterns that a human eye might miss,
Wow.
potentially catching things like cancer super early.
So the computer's like a superpowered radiologist
Yeah.
going through those images.
You got it. And it's not just about finding stuff. Deep learning can also help personalize treatment plans.
Oh, wow.
By looking at a patient's medical history, genetics, lifestyle, all that, these algorithms can help doctors figure out the best treatment for each person.
That's incredible. So deep learning is making healthcare more precise and personalized.
Totally. And beyond healthcare, think about self-driving cars. Deep learning is a game changer there too.
All right. I've been reading about how those self-driving systems use deep learning to see what's around them.
Exactly. They use it to see pedestrians, other cars, traffic lights, the whole 9 yards. And they're always getting better the more they drive,
Yeah.
collecting all this data from their sensors and cameras. The more they drive, the better they handle different situations.
It's kind of wild to think these cars are learning to drive just by watching the world like we do.
That's the power of deep learning right there.
Yeah.
And it's not just cars. Deep learning is also behind natural language processing,
Yeah.
getting computers to understand and use human language.
So like those virtual assistants, Siri, Alexa, all those.
Exactly. They can understand what you say and talk back, all thanks to deep learning.
And those chatbots that pop up on websites, are those getting better because of deep learning too?
Yeah, absolutely. Deep learning's making them way more sophisticated, handling tougher conversations, understanding different languages, even adapting to how you talk.
Okay, so we've got healthcare, self-driving cars, language. Where else is deep learning making waves?
Computer vision is huge right now. Deep learning can do facial recognition, object detection, even create images. They can analyze pictures and videos to find people, things, even emotions.
So that's how social media apps can tag your friends in pictures or figure out what filter matches your mood.
Exactly. And it's used in security systems too, spotting potential threats. Even in stores, they use it to track what customers are doing, and in agriculture, to watch over crops and animals.
It's kind of mind-blowing, all the ways deep learning is already being used. And it seems like there's no end in sight.
Totally agree. It's evolving so fast and could change pretty much every industry, every part of our lives, really.
For sure. But let's zoom out a bit. We've mostly talked about deep learning, but AI is bigger than that, right?
Oh, yeah, you're right. Deep learning is just one way to get to artificial intelligence. There are others like rule-based systems, expert systems, and these evolutionary algorithms that have been around for a while.
So it's not like one is better than the others.
Yeah.
They each have their own pros and cons.
Yep. Choosing the right AI approach depends on what you're trying to do, the data you have, and how well you need it to perform.
Okay, makes sense. So we've got this whole toolbox of AI techniques, each with its own special skills. But stepping back even further, what are the big differences between AI, machine learning, and deep learning? How do they all connect?
It's helpful to think of it like a hierarchy.
Okay.
Artificial intelligence is the big umbrella, right? Anything that lets computers mimic human intelligence falls under that.
Okay.
Then you've got machine learning as a subset of AI, focusing on using data to train algorithms that learn and get better over time. And then deep learning, that's a specialized part of machine learning, using those deep neural networks we talked about to make sense of massive amounts of data.
So AI is the grandparent, ML is the parent, and DL is the, super smart kid.
Haha. I love that. And like any family, they're all connected and influence each other. Like, the progress in deep learning is pushing the boundaries of what machine learning can do, which in turn expands what's possible with AI overall.
It's cool to see how they're all evolving and shaping each other. And as they keep advancing, it's clear they're going to have a huge impact on the world.
Definitely. AI, ML, and DL are already transforming industries, opening up new opportunities, and changing how we live, work, and interact with everything.
This deep dive has been amazing. We started with the basics, then explored how these things work in the real world, and even saw how they fit into the whole AI landscape.
And we've only scratched the surface. There's so much more to learn about these incredible fields.
Well, before we get lost in the AI universe, let's pause for a second and think about what we've learned. What are some key takeaways you want listeners to remember about the differences between AI, ML, and DL?
Here's something to think about. While they're different, they're also connected and often work together to do really amazing things. AI sets the stage for creating intelligent systems. ML brings the data-driven methods for learning improvement, and DL brings those powerful neural networks that can tackle tough problems. Together, they're a force to be reckoned with, shaping the future as we speak.
That's a great point. They're like pieces of a puzzle, each essential for the bigger picture of artificial intelligence. But let's move on to one last question that's probably on everyone's mind. With all this talk about intelligent machines, it's kind of hard not to think about, the future. Where is all this going? Like, is there a point where AI gets so smart it surpasses human intelligence?
That's the big question, right? That whole idea of the singularity, where AI becomes smarter than us and things just like explode technologically. People have been debating that for ages.
Yeah, it's definitely a thought-provoking idea. Some people see it as this awesome utopian future, while others think it'll be like a dystopian nightmare, machines taking over. Where do you fall on that?
Oh, man, it's a super complicated issue. AI has come a long way, but human intelligence is pretty amazing too, you know? We're really good at things like creativity, critical thinking, emotions. AI still struggles with that stuff.
So it shouldn't be handing over the keys to the robot overlords just yet.
Exactly. AI is a powerful tool. It can help us do so much more. But it's not about replacing humans, it's about working together. Using AI to solve problems, make better decisions, unlock new possibilities.
I like that. It's about humans and AI teaming up, each using their strengths.
Yeah, think about it. AI can process tons of data, see patterns, and make predictions crazy fast. Humans, we bring creativity, intuition, and, ethical judgment. Combining those, we can do things neither could do alone.
That's a really cool vision for AI. Humans and machines working side by side to make the world better.
And it's a vision that needs careful thought, ethical considerations. As AI gets more advanced, we gotta make sure it lines up with human values, promotes fairness, and benefits everyone.
Yeah, that's a huge point. It's not just about the tech itself, it's how we use it, responsibly and ethically.
100%. We need to be thinking about those consequences, putting safeguards in place to prevent any harm. Addressing biases in algorithms, data privacy, even potential job losses. It takes all of us, scientists, policymakers, ethicists, everyone, to get this right.
It sounds like there's a lot to think about as we head into this wild world of AI. But I think this deep dive has given us a good starting point. We've covered the basics, differences, and the potential impact of all this.
Yeah, I agree. We've learned a lot, but it's really just the beginning. AI, ML, DL, they're all constantly changing. New stuff's happening every day. It's a really exciting time to be following this and being part of the conversation about how we shape it.
Totally agree. So as we wrap up, what's the one thing you want listeners to take away from this?
I'd say, stay curious. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Look at things from different angles and keep learning about these technologies. The more we understand, the better we'll be able to handle all the amazing possibilities and challenges that come with them.
Great advice. Keep learning, keep those questions coming, and be part of the conversation that's shaping the future of AI. Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.